So we're doing something really spontaneous right now. We're taking Dylan's dually and we're painting all the stuff inside of white. You can see all this is ripped apart. So we're gonna do everything. Everything that's silver, this aluminum stuff, brushed aluminum, is gonna be white. Yep. And we're gonna try to do it ourselves instead of pay somebody. Is that a Jetta or is that a Civic? Batman. Oh, okay, it's just Batman themed. Dude, the inside is mint. Look at the center exhaust. Wow. The interior's mint. Ooh, it is. Dude, this thing is awesome. Straight sponsored by Batman. We're back at the shop. Tristan is cleaning his wheels because his wheels are officially up for sale. If anybody needs some 18-inch, what are these called?
Wedge Cranes Glossos.
Okay. Yeah, hit him up. Special deal from the YouTube video. $1,450. You guys can take these home with the pretty good tires on them. Anyways, we're gonna get down to business on painting the stuff on inside the dually. We took off this little piece right here. We're gonna try it with this piece since it's one of the back seats, you know. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're gonna learn today. A couple days later, we finished painting up all the stuff inside the dually. You can see white, 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 white. And I think for 30 bucks in paint, this turned out amazing. So the whole reason we actually did this was because these little panels are aluminum, and then there was a bunch of dents along them. And to fix the aluminum, we don't know how to do that. So we bonded over it, made it look a little bit better, painted it white. And I think, I mean, honestly, it looks really, really good. I love the white, especially because the truck is white. It just makes it look like it's like paint match, SEMA type vibe. So I'm borrowing Dylan's truck right now because he is in Texas, and this thing, honestly, driving this thing is fun, but it's also very, very stressful because it barely fits in the lanes. I just got back from Dylan's house from picking up a few things. This box is very special. This actually was holding the RX-7 FD Supra Origin rear over fenders. So if you guys know, on the RX-7 FD Super front end, the Super front end is a lot wider than the FD. So we had to compensate it big time by putting on the over fenders in the rear. The over fenders are only a 55 millimeter over fender, I believe. So it's like a little over 2 inches. And you can see before where the old over fender sits, there was about 2 inches of poke on the Blitz 03s. Now, if you look from up above, he honestly needs a tiny little spacer for this to fit perfect and go a little bit more low. I really love the way that Origin made their kit. I've personally never bought Origin stuff, but you can see that there's little in-divot things that you can put the bolts through to mount it up that way. That's not the way we're gonna do it. We're actually gonna mold the whole fender on so that it looks OEM and it just looks a little bit wider than stock, which I think will be exactly what this thing needs, because there will be no bolt-on fenders to the front, and it'll just look flush from the rear all the way throughout the front. For the Evo Subi, we got rid of the zip tie. Check that out. No more zip tie. I did a very temporary fix with the grill. I just bought this plastic stuff that you use in your mom's kitchen drawer. I think that looks better for now, but it definitely isn't 100% fix. I'm gonna order up some very, very thin or very, very fine grit like this, but even finer through this, so that you can barely see the behind there, just because it looks really ugly, it being a Subi. What I can do is put those little horns right there, but then I think that's an ultimate ricer. You might be wondering what that is, and that's my turbo outside the car. Big, big thing that happened to this thing. I was driving it around for the last couple days, and it was good. Everything was fine. I bring it to the shop, and I go to leave, and it doesn't want to start. So, little did I know, because I've barely driven this car, is that the fuel gauge on this thing was broken. So I filled it up as soon as I finished it, and then it was at a half tank, and then it was, I guess, out of fuel. It's a common problem in these things, G's and Z's. I didn't know it was this thing. So gas gauge doesn't work. Dylan got me some gas and poured it in here, and it fired right up. But that has nothing to do with the turbo. The turbo is pulled because the turbo is actually blown, and it is blown because they sent me the wrong one. So this is a TD06 right here, and I need a different TD06, which is just a little bit different, I guess. This one had horrible fitting issues. That's why I had to get these custom lines. From what I've heard, and my tuner has said, him installing a bunch of these turbos, you do not need custom lines. So when I was trying to install these, all the lines were kinked like this, and this one was kinked right here, causing overflow of oil and coolant going through the turbo seals. I'm not 100% sure if this turbo is bad, but they're refunding me and I have to send in this turbo and they're gonna send me out a new one for free. So there's no point in me trying to get this one to work when I had the wrong one from the first place. Which sucks because if I would have never got the first turbo that I got for this car stolen, that one was the right one. I'd be ripping this thing around nonstop. But since I got that wrong one, I've been pulling this turbo literally like 10 times. I've seen that intercooler on that counter literally like 10 times. So the only thing I can do now is wait for my new turbo. They did overnight shipping, so hopefully I get it. Oh, today is Friday, so hopefully I get it maybe Saturday and we can bang this thing out and put this back on and drive this thing, because wow, this thing's been done for like a month now and I've been barely able to drive it. So while we wait on the turbo, we will be working on the Mark 7 RX-7 Supra FD. Honestly, I don't know the name that we're gonna call this thing, but comment down below, figure out some names. This has been the hardest car to come up with a name for just because of how weird it is. This thing it's super cool. So the over fender is on. You guys saw that I put the duct tape on in earlier in the video, but really it has been cut. The RX-7 FD has been completely cut, and we found a lot of Bondo from the molded kit on, which isn't a big deal because when we put the new flare on and we mold everything, there's going to be a lot more Bondo added on. But you can see that this is what an RX-7 FD looks after being cut for wide body, and then the flare will go right over it. Just like that, and it'll fit amazingly. And when everything is molded on and the side skirts are on and the front bumper's on, I think this will definitely be one of the most aggressive cars that'll ever leave this shop. The bodywork on the front end is coming to a close for this fender. We still have to do the whole other fender, but we wanted to finish this one completely so that we know where we're going and what direction we're going to do this little vent here. So if you guys remember in the last video, I talked briefly about this vent right here. We are going for a Nissan Nismo V-Tune style fender. So that means the fender is higher than the door, and you can see that there was pretty much no way of making that Mark IV Super Fender line up with the RX-7 body line. So this was our best bet, and I think it looks actually really good, and it gives you that JDM body kit taste that we're looking for. And when everything's wrapped and it has the mesh in there, I think it'll actually be really, really sweet and definitely one of a kind. This is the front bumper that is going on the RX-7 Supra. It is not an Origin kit, so it's not matching the rest of the whole Origin kit for the RX-7, but it really looks like it will match the aggressiveness. So just because it's not the same brand, I think it'll match really, really good. You can see that little lip right there and all the extensive part of the lip, kind of like how this one is sticking out on the 350Z. And then on the rear bumper for the Origin kit, it sticks out, you know, the traditional JDM body kit. So I think the Mark IV Super Front End bumper will flow perfectly with the RX-7 Origin kit. But look at this thing. The G50Z is just sitting here sad. If you guys want a quick little update on it, I just need wheels for this thing, and it's just hard trying to find exactly what wheels we want, because we want to match this car and the G70Z with wheels, and that's pretty much all this thing needs. It does leak a little bit of power steering fluid from the right-hand drive rack, but for the most part, this thing literally only needs wheels, and I can drive this thing. I try to stay away from driving it because it is wintertime, and I have no stereo, I have no heater, but today it's sunny, so I wish I had wheels for it so I could drive it today since this thing is broken. So shout out to Tuned by Wally. That's his Instagram right there. Go check him out. He tuned this car, and without him, I would have never figured out that the turbo that I got was wrong, and I would have kept trying to figure out how to get this turbo to work, when in all seriousness, that turbo would have never worked, and I would have just kept blowing smoke, and I probably would have kept losing coolant. I could have lost so much coolant that caused the air bubble in the system, and it could have even blown my head gasket. So I'm happy that I caught this early. I only put about 100 miles on that turbo, and my tune is still not 100% finished, so I haven't been revving it over 4,000 RPMs. So I really doubt that the turbo caused anything for the engine or the head gasket or anything to be bad, but it is really funny because I did get a birthday present from one of my friends, and it's in the trunk of the Benz. Let's see what it is. You know what these are? These are head gaskets. So my friend thought it was a funny joke to give me head gaskets which it is pretty funny, but it could be very, very useful. But according to my tuner, since this thing does have a lower mile Japanese engine inside, the head gaskets on these things are better, I guess. I don't know. As soon as I get that new turbo in, we will pop that thing in. It'll literally take like 25-30 minutes, and then I'll never see coolant on the ground again, hopefully from this car. Definitely maybe from this car, but not this car. And then I'll never see an intercooler on the table anymore, if that's what you want to call this, a table. There's Cheerios and Modelo's on it. Dylan just pulled up. He got the new exhaust on the dually, and it sounds amazing. Oh my God. Oh, dude, that's insane. He still needs to get his tune. Oh my God, dude. That's wild. All right, well, peace out, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, look at this Bondo mobile.